Hey all, I'm happy to be here. Today we'll have a lecture on cracking the code review. So let me start by telling you about myself. I'm Stella, I'm software team leader at Checkpoint, and I have 10 years of experience developing from users' point of view. And creation out of nothing is my real love. And as you can see, running is my second love. So today we'll answer these questions about code review. Why, who, and how. So we will start with the first question. Why we are coding review? Code review can be a step in the way and not really affect on the target. But code review, a good one, can really make a difference. So let's understand why we must have a code review. So the first reason is to make sure that the code is indeed reach the purpose. Another member with fresh eyes will test the solution and will be able to discover problems at the flow. Looking at the requirements, are all cases fully implemented? Another reason to code review are code standards. Someone else someday will reach your code. Keeping a code standard will enforce readable code, constant styling, and keeping on your organization compliance. Another reason to code review is the opportunity to share your knowledge. Knowledge sharing enables time off. So nobody likes to be the sole point of contact on a piece of code. Likewise, nobody wants to dive into a critical piece of code they didn't write, especially during production emergency and without having the chance to know the code, but somehow they are the owners. So code review is really a critical point for knowledge sharing and even share hidden knowledge within the code. Another really important reason is mentorship. Learn the code base as well as help to other members learn new technologies and techniques that grow their skill sets. So if you have new members at the team, code review really the is really the place to mentor the new members. And at the end, code review is really more than just a bug check. So another question to be addressed is who does what? So when we are code review, we have the author and the reviewer. So as the author, you should start with self-review first. At this stage, you will find some forgotten to-dos and missing documentation. And another thing as an author, we, we have to make sure is to prepare a running setup. Really to be prepared to have a demo. Make sure all the flow and tests are running properly. And about the reviewer, as we write a review for a hotel or a service we get, we previously know the hotel and we give a real review. So the same in a code, we should know the code base and the code standard before we are reviewing. Next, to continue with is how we are coding review. So let me start by telling you about an experience I had that verified my initial thoughts about how code review should be conducted. It started with a found security bug, and one of my colleagues was working on a fix. I guess you all know how urgent it is to provide a security patch. It should be as soon as possible. So we had reached the code review stage and the ETA was breathing down our necks. So to speed up the code review process and not neglect the quality, we concluded that two team members will review the code. At this point, my colleague and I started to review the security patch separately. And I would like to ask you to think what would you do as a reviewer at this point? And today we will try to answer that question. So the most common way to review code, no matter the tool you are using, is to have a diff between the code to be committed and the base version. Of course, after the merge. Some teams prefer to review every single change merged into the main branch and go over the files one by one, while others will have a triviality threshold under which review is not required. So, a strict code review going file by file is perceived as the safe and the correct way to review, as you are going through every single change. But that's not absolutely true. If I have to review this diff strictly, I will start by going to the kitchen and grabbing a cup of coffee. So by reviewing code strictly, you do go over all the diff, but it can lead you to be overwhelmed and to not follow the code flow and to miss some critical pitfalls, bugs, and design problems that can cause too low standard code. And we all know what low code standard can lead to. You can get a spaghetti code or code that's hard to be maintained and other evils you know. So do you know this feeling when you code review that you can't see the forest for the trees? So today I would like to offer you another approach to review code, the top-down methodology. What is the meaning of reviewing code top-down? The top-down methodology means that the review should start from the highest level of the bug or the feature you are reviewing. So what is the highest level? As a reviewer, when we approach a review starting at the highest level, we must start with ourselves and to be prepared for the review. When you know what you are going to review and have not yet seen the solution, at this point you can think of your own solution objectively. With your own solution in mind, you have a better perspective and comparison point while reviewing. This is how I started to review I the security patch that I've telling you about. I had my own solution in my mind. So next to continue with is with the top-down review is the test. I call it TDD from code review perspective. As in medicine, we don't skip on tests. We cannot skip on them at the code review. Whether they are code written tests or unit tests made manually by the author. By starting from the test, you will actually understand exactly what you are reviewing. You'll be able to check if the feature was tested was tested properly, including edge cases, and compare it to the solution you would do. If the tests were not properly made, there is no point to continue with the review till test completion. Skipping on reviewing the test has huge costs in case of bug discovery in production, much more than reviewing them at this stage. So I at the security fix review, I started the review with the unit test, checking that the patch indeed fixed the bug, which was found to be true. But I discovered that other flows that worked properly before the fix were not working well, what we call degradation. This was super productive for all of us, the other, me, and the other reviewer, as it was a quick iteration and the fixed order continued to work on the patch. We made us we made this without wasting time on reviewing the code itself. We gain quick iteration and keep on high product quality. The next to be reviewed are documentation and the UI or the UX. Yes, documentation must be reviewed. Actually, I'm not sure if it should be after or before the test review. And it doesn't really matter. What matters is that it will be earlier at the review. By reviewing the documentation initially, you will have the chance to read documentation from users' perspective and without your thoughts being dirty with the written solution. And next to be reviewed is the UI or the UX if exists. Check that all fits the feature requirements. There is no point in reviewing the code before making sure that the user interface is made as designed. Next to continue with is the code link points. Yes, we are at the coding stage, and yet hold the horses. We start with the link points in the code. So what are the link points? Code link points are are old code parts that have changed and use the new code. Based on the link points, you can review first that the logic of the old flow was not changed without need. And second, you can review the new code usages. Does it serve the purpose? Are APIs well defined and intuitive to use? Are best practices implemented? A simple technique to start with the code link points is to start with the existing files, not with the new files to be committed. In this way, you follow the code flow. Actually, we all do this while coding. So why not do it when we are reviewing code? And of course, you'd better be familiar with the code and with the flow you are going to review, as you don't want to be a rubber stamp. And you got the idea. There is no point to continue with the review if there are comments at this stage. When I reviewed the code link points at the security fix, I found APIs that were not defined properly in terms of encapsulation and more comments on redundant dependencies. After reviewing the link points at this iteration, my other colleague was still reviewing the code. As I found as I found lots of comments, I didn't find it reasonable to continue with the review. So we set a meeting, me, the other, and the other reviewer, to go through my comments, and we agreed on required changes in the new interfaces that will cause to new code implementation changes. And remember, at this stage, I didn't review the new code yet. The other reviewer took a different approach to review. He started with the new code that contained new classes, functions, and new logic. In our meeting, we found that his review is not relevant at all, as following my comments, the implementation will be changed. This was really mind-blowing for all of us, as with different approaches to review code, we shortened the review iteration, and we gained an advantage with the ETA. So it was a proof for us that with going top down, we gain productivity. We can discover problem at an early stage in the review. And we can create quick iterations of review and fixes. Another thing, we scale up code standards as we keep on our best practices. And another important point, we improved the stability. We started with the test and we made sure that the new code was tested properly. So after all of the others have been reviewed, it is the time to review the new code to be committed. From here, you know the job. Do you see potential for useful abstraction, no redundant dependency, code reuse when possible? I know it may sound overkill and hassle, but if you think about it, you either way are going over all the diff. Then why not do it effectively? So let's summarize it with 5 steps. First, come prepared for the review. You start with you as a reviewer. Know what it is about. Think about your own solution in advance. Second are the tests. Go over the test. Does the new code serve its purpose? Were edge cases tested? Third are the documentation and the UI or UX. Take the opportunity to see things from users' point of view. After it are the link points, code link points. Review the existing flows that use the new code and kill two birds with one stone. You are making sure the current flow logic is correct and the usages of the new code make sense. And last is the new code. Now you're ready to get the job done. So when you approach your next code review, keep the top-down methodology in your mind, even if you will adopt only one thing to start with. Coming prepared or review the test first. You will gain all the benefits. The more you will adopt, the more you will gain the benefits. And last, clean code leaves me time for a happy hour, and we all agree about it. There is nothing better than that. So thank you for joining me.